And welcome back to We Bombastic Few, Season 2, Episode 4, also known as Episode 17, if you're keeping track from the beginning. Alright, it's time for another podcast, and with me, as usual, we have Daniel.
It's me, Daniel.
Alright, and Lindsay.
What's up? I'm so excited to be here. Let's do this.
Awesome. Hype. Fun fact for you guys, for all the listeners out here, just to know how much I care about you. Last time we recorded, I forgot to turn back on my heat, and so I woke up the next day and I couldn't feel anything because it was like 50 degrees in my apartment. That was not fun.
Unfortunate.
Yes. So I'm definitely turning that back on this time. Also, quick side note, I was thinking about this, and if we were Alvin and the Chipmunks, like in terms of character-wise, who do you think we all would be? I already know the
I'd be
correct
Theodore.
answers. No, that is not correct in any way.
I'm Theodore.
Wait,
No,
I think I'm. Wait, that means Brent thinks I'm Theodore.
that is correct. Because Daniel is 100.
Alvin.
You are 100% Alvin, not because you are the star of the group, but because your name gets shouted in anger the most.
Okay, why am I Theodore? My
Because
process
you're
of
short and
elimination?
fat. Exactly.
Whatever. I'm taller than you.
No,
Wait,
you're
I think
not.
We're the same height. We're the same height, and I'm not the slightest fat.
I think Lindsay's more of a Simon.
You're gonna insult Brent. Watch out.
I am definitely Simon. If Simon were cool. But.
X to doubt.
All right, today's segments. We got a new one called Shower Thoughts. We got a hypothetical, because what is a podcast without a hypothetical? And we're bringing back the qualgorithm for another segment version. So, without further ado, we got the bombastic word of the day, bombinate, which means buzz or hum in the same manner as a bumblebee.
Wow. That intro, your intro is running a little short there, Brennan. I was expecting to be like 10 minutes or so longer.
Well, I didn't make a terrible mistake like forgetting or not planning ahead for a 48-hour board game competition and deciding to record an hour before it started.
I did plan ahead. You guys didn't plan around me.
We need to move on quick before
Yeah,
things
quick,
get
we
said
really do.
online.
We really need to continue on. Okay.
That's you, Lindsay.
Oh, it's my turn to talk.
Continuing.
All right.
Anywho.
I'm not going to continue that. Okay. Shower Thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shower Thoughts. If you're not aware of what Shower Thoughts are, it is a page on Reddit that has similar concepts and people, like comments by people who overthink things. So we are going to dive in. Just a list of a lot of them. The first one is, there must be a lot of different toilet styles in the Star Wars universe, which is kind of interesting, because obviously Death Star in space, toilets might flush differently. That one's not the best one.
Well, I guess I'm trying, because there are certainly there's like the Wampa. I'm sure that guy's different. And then you got, do droids need to use facilities for like oil changes
You gotta get
or
their
something?
own, yeah, they probably do. So they probably have their own little bathroom or something, bathroom style.
Or do you think they would have just a universal bathroom and then it's like a toilet that's modular and it's like you just kind of arrange it in the fashion that you need?
Yeah, it conforms to how you need it.
Mm-hmm. I think they have the technology
A
for
toilet of all trades.
that. If you wish to
How
call
many-
it that, sure.
How many toilet-related incidents do you think there are in a day at the Death Star? Negative toilet-related incidents.
Well, that's one thing that always gets glossed over, and there was a college humor bit about this, where it's like it's always, people don't think about the fact that the Death Star is literally the size of like a moon, and so like one of the bits is this person needs to get, for Darth Vader, he needs to get him a coffee, and Darth Vader's like, I want it from the other side of the base, and it takes 2 days to get there because it's the size of a moon, which is
Oh, that's all.
the waste treatment or stuff would be something to deal with. How do they get food? Like,
I'm
you
sure
think
they
they have
cafeterias and stuff?
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
okay, no, I'm not concerned about how they distribute food. How do they produce food?
I mean, I'm sure they have like synthetic farms and such, and they're also constantly sending ships in and out of the bay that are probably
Getting
trading
supplies,
and
sure.
gathering from
But
planets.
to supply an entire moon worth of food, like, they never really go over, like, hydroponics or anything. Like, they never really go over, like, beneficial stuff in Star Wars in terms of, like, advanced society, like, food generation or anything.
Have they ever talked about like the typical population of the Death Star? Like, did they ever say something like that? 'Cause
I mean, I'm
maybe
sure
that
if you
was
looked
like,
up
cool.
something, it would be there's some canon number out there, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know if like maybe there's not that as many people as you would think for a globe that big.
A globe.
Dude, can we also talk about the fact that Death Star is missing out on very useful destruction techniques? Like, it's so big, if it just flew by a planet and messed up the way it orbited around its respective sun,
Wouldn't that
it
be
could
suicide mission,
devastate
though?
that planet's environment.
I don't know. Like, it could definitely affect like tides and stuff for like water planets and stuff. That's a good point. I've never really. And then also the amount of energy, because I think in episode 4 it goes at light speed. So the amount of energy required to accelerate that thing at light speed, oof,
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's at least 12 or 13.
it's like greater than a
Energies.
9-volt battery, at least. Also, fun fact. So a 9-volt, you guys know what a 9-volt battery is, the little like thing you put for like a garage door opener or something. Guess how many volts are in a car battery?
I don't know. Cars have batteries.
They,
I have no idea. I have no idea what it is.
Daniel?
Don't have a guess. Electricity is magic, doesn't matter. Can't be quantified.
Well, that's unfortunate for me. 12 volts, fun fact. So it's only 3
what I
volts difference between a 9-volt battery and your car battery. What's the next shower thought?
The next one is the only reason Luigi is believed to be weaker than Mario is because he's always player 2, and player 2 has traditionally been our younger siblings.
Well, there are some games where he's the main character.
Also,
Yeah,
disagree. Have you ever seen videos Luigi wins by doing nothing? It's because he's the ultimate character. He's too powerful. He can't be stopped.
Well, okay,
I
neither
don't
of
know
you
what
have
you're referencing.
younger siblings, so I guess I relate to this one a lot more than you guys probably.
I mean, I've been second player many a time,
And
but
you were the weaker one.
Brent, you are too.
I don't ever play second player. If someone's already playing and they're like join up, I'm like, give me first player or I'm leaving.
Okay, next one. Nobody gave us the source code for how our bodies work, so we've basically spent centuries reverse engineering ourselves.
DNA is
Agreed.
crazy like that. So that's the
that is science.
Yeah.
Some of these, like, because I on Reddit I follow shower thoughts too, and some of them are interesting, just thoughts that you haven't really considered. But then some of them are just like facts stated in a different way, and you're just like, yep, all right, that's one way of saying that.
Bombastically?
Almost.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Like
yeah.
this next one. Erasers slowly sacrificed their lives for our mistakes. Like, well, yeah.
I don't consider a eraser capable of sacrifice because it's
don't-
not sentient, and I don't care about it.
It has no choice in the matter. We're slaughtering
Yeah,
erasers.
yeah, that's a good point. We're forcing it into cleaning up our mistakes. It had no choice in the matter. Maybe there's going to be an eraser revolution soon, or rebellion.
Yeah.
They'll blow up
But-
our Death Star.
They don't have any beef with the turkeys.
Forgot about that. When you accidentally drink ocean water, there's also a slight chance that you drink part of someone's ashes released into the sea.
Okay, mathematically though, the ocean's a pretty big place. And so the odds of that happening, I'm sure, are actually very small.
I don't know
Moreover,
because like
I mean, the ashes have probably been deionized to the point that
That you
Sure.
can't even call them ashes anymore.
well, yes, but there's still slight remnants of it.
Okay, what happens when someone's cremated? They've been dispersed into the air, and you're breathing air right now.
Well, yeah, I'm not doubting that at all.
Honestly, that's
But
a
I'm just
worse thought, because you breathe air a
Yeah.
lot more than you drink seawater.
Lindsay, you're a cannibal.
Aren't we all then?
Stop breathing.
What's wrong with you? Stop it. You're still doing it, aren't you?
This one is another kind of just like I've thought of this before. Good people get angry when you lie about them. Bad people get angry when you tell the truth about them.
Bad people get angry when you lie about them.
No,
Or-
good people get angry when you lie about them. Bad people get angry when you tell the truth about them.
What if you're a supervillain and you want your reputation to spread? So you want people to tell the truth about you.
But then you're a super bad person. You're not just bad.
Oh, it invalidates them. I see it now.
And so if you're super good, you also don't care if people lie about you.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we used to use photos to capture authentic moments. Now we create artificial moments to capture photos.
I don't want to talk about the authenticity of film because I'm in a film class right now, and it's only about documentaries. And so literally once a week I go to class and for 2.5 hours talk about what is authentic film and try to define the word documentary. Ugh, it is not
Have you?
fun. Well, no, because basically the takeaway every time is you cannot objectively define a documentary, because it's hard to say if a documentary has to be completely true, and then if going into that, it's technically by some definitions anything is a documentary, because at minimum a documentary of what is being filmed is that's technically a documentary of just what was going on. And then if you have to fake scenes and stuff, and even if you don't, I don't it's a 3,000 level course on arguing about the word documentary.
Why are
Well-
you taking a 3,000 level film course?
Yeah, it sounds like an elective. Why would you take such a high level elective?
Because I didn't know. I wanted to take a film class, and the worst part is, so first day I go in, I'm talking with the professor, and I'm like, so what type of movies are we gonna watch? And he's like, well, 2 semesters ago we watched movies about time travel. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, 1 semester ago we watched movies about artificial intelligence. Yeah. This semester we're watching documentaries. I almost walked out, but I didn't, because I'm committed.
Yeah.
And I've never dropped a class, and I'm not starting now, even though documentaries suck. Next,
I've dropped 2
shower
classes.
thought.
Not
to cut you off.
Similar topic. Thinking a camera can steal your soul. That I've never heard that before. But thinking
I
a
have heard
camera
that.
can steal your soul doesn't seem superstitious once you've seen Instagram.
Okay, that's stupid.
That's not stupid. I didn't think it was
Honestly,
that. Yeah, Brett, you've never touched Instagram, so
Well, okay, but so Native Americans specifically are the cases I know where they believed it stole your soul, which it's a stupid thought. Because
that alone is a stupid thought. But the amount of time and effort people put on Instagram just to get people's attention and approval.
So, well, first off, we need to define soul. So when you say steal
my
their
gosh.
soul, well, no, if you want to believe this, then we need to define some terms here. So if you want to say they stole their soul in terms of their humanity or something, like
I don't
their
know.
ability to interact with others.
It's not a direct comparison. It's more like in the Native Americans' belief or whoever, they were like, oh, it legitimately steals your soul to a spirit. But in the comparison to Instagram, it's like, hey, these people are devoting their entire selves and everything they think around what other people think about them. Based on
there's
a picture.
literally people try to create careers on it at this point just by being what some
Well,
people call an Instagram model.
and that's just a job. Like, that's certainly
Well,
you could make the same argument then about like
video games and
any.
stuff.
Well,
I mean, like
I was
I
gonna say
understand that
career.
but like I'm saying, like it can go as far. People are fetching for so much attention and approval that they go as far as to focus their career onto it.
Well,
We can continue on. We use video games to escape the tedious tasks of life by making fictional tedious tasks.
sometimes.
That
I mean, it depends though. Like, so one of the things I enjoy about video games, is, like the challenging puzzles or like challenging levels to get through and trying to figure out strategies of how to get past them. It's good. It's good brain work.
Yeah, I mean, you get to like take multiple attempts at something and get better at it. You almost have more control of these tasks and can get better at it. Whereas in like the tasks of life, like it's like you get one chance sometimes.
well, but then also it's like in order for a video game to achieve a sense of accomplishment in you, it needs to have you work for something, and like there's no real way to have you feel like you've worked for something without doing at least something tedious.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're more fun tedious.
I mean,
tasks.
tedious also kind of implies like slow, monotonous, but that's not always the case. Like, to me,
Just
something's
repetitive.
something's not tedious if you're not getting bored with it. You know, if you don't tire of doing that.
Yeah.
So in the definition, you have to not want to do it.
Yeah, you have to be like, I don't want to do this again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like in a video game, one thing that's tedious for me is if I have to watch the same cutscene over again every time I attempt something. Like,
Oh yeah.
so that's
brutal.
tedious. But actually trying it, I'm thinking. Gears are in motion.
Bombastic quote. You say tomato, I say tomato because we grew up within close proximity of each other, developing similar dialects due to the similar culture. And with that, we've got the hypothetical. All right, so here's the situation. I was walking down the street the other day, and I passed by not Bill Gates, Bill Gates' cousin, who's equally rich, Phil Gates. And so Phil Gates, he's kind of a weird dude. Not Bill Gates. Phil Gates is weird. And Phil, he saw me and he was like, yo, here's the deal. You look like an interesting guy. I will pay you $1 million right now if, when you die, whenever that may be, I get to eat your body. And he offers me this deal. And by extension, you guys as well. He's offering it to everyone. He's got enough money. So,
Are we aware of why people want to eat our body?
Phil's just being Phil. That's what he does. He likes to eat bodies.
Wait, so it's not someone gets to eat my body, it's Phil Gates gets to eat my body.
Correct.
Oh, that's even more interesting.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
I wouldn't do it.
Why? See, because
even though it doesn't really affect me day to day, I'm also enabling a cannibal. I'm not really for that.
well, okay. He's gonna do if he doesn't get you to agree to it, he's just gonna find someone else to agree to it. So he's eventually gonna eat someone one way or another. So
Yeah, and it's not gonna be me.
not wanting to enable it is not a reason. What's your next reason?
Nope, that's my reason.
No.
Someone else can enable him if they want. I'm not going to.
Wow. All right, Lindsay, what are you saying?
I I don't know. I think I would be okay with it. I think some people might be kind of like weary of it, just like thinking, I kind of be scared of the fact that your body is gonna be eaten, but I don't have to worry about that. I'll be dead by that point. Wait a minute. Here's a thought. Is he like extremely excited to eat my body? Am I going to be worried about him coming to kill me?
No, he is
a
gonna
patient man?
completely leave you alone.
Okay, he's
He
gonna be a
like,
patient man.
in fact, he might even be interested if you like come to him and is like, "Yo, I caught the flu." He'd be like, "Yo, I've got a very nice doctor. He'll take care of you." He wants to ensure his investment ages because he considers like this is going bad, but he considers humans like a fine wine. He likes them aged, and so
Okay.
he is gonna do everything in his power to make sure you live as long as humanly possible.
Okay, so go ahead.
The thing, I have a complaint about this hypothetical.
Okay.
It does not. This is more like a would you rather instead of like a. It's like most of our hypotheticals, like how does this affect society?
Well, this is you're a part of society. Don't exclude yourself. Even Alvin's a part of a society. Even though no one wants him to be. He could leave, get eaten.
Right.
What if it became like? What if it became more like a game or like a trend of like rich people doing like being more willing to pay to eat someone when the person being paid dies. Like they are like it's becoming a bigger thing. So there a lot of people around the world are being offered so much money to if they die.
And there are like competitive prices. It's like Ryan Reynolds is like up to 20 million
Wait, to be eaten or to eat someone?
to
Like,
to
he's
be
offering.
eaten. Like you could every single so okay, we're changing the entire hypothetical on the fly. Every person has a number. And so when you turn 18, you set your number. Like this is just how society works. You're going to get eaten at the when you die. So I guess, but so you set your number, but then people have to buy you. So I don't know. Someone help me out here. How could we make society eat people, cannibals?
I don't know.
I just think
I don't think you had something.
I did
don't
have
think
something, but you complained, and so now I'm trying to make it better.
I don't think it has to
It
go
seemed
that
like we had
into it.
fleshed out the conversation. It had only been a couple minutes.
Well, I also have a backup one, but I didn't give my answer. My answer is, of course, why not? $1 million up front. I could do many things with $1 million. Who cares what happens after I die? I'm gone. What does it matter? But like,
Well, I could pay to have Phil Gates assassinated with $1 million.
and that's the like the thing is, I told a bunch of people in my classes about this, asking them, and like at least 90% of them said no, and it was just completely. I just couldn't comprehend why. And I kept asking them questions and like giving alternatives. And then they'd be like, all right, so I'll accept it and then I'll assassinate him. And I was like, well, then the contract transfers down to his son. And it's like, it's crazy the amount of people who would feel uncomfortable with their, like, once they're gone, their deceased body being eaten.
Yeah.
As if it's not going to decompose on its own.
Yeah. See, I think I'll do it. I think I would not. I would probably hesitate, but I would in the end be like, you know what, Phil? I got you.
I got you, Phil.
You do you,
Yeah.
Phil.
No, only slightly related to Bill, but they completely
Like
different
second
people.
cousins or something like that.
Yeah, like twice removed. He was exiled from the family.
Dang, that's hard stuff.
All right, and then
Now I feel for him. So I have to do it now.
yeah, he's just trying to make ends meet, and by ends
Yeah.
meet I mean eat people, and So the backup one I had was, all right, McDonald's, they've been in a rut. They're tired of having real employees. And so they are now switching over to having completely automated systems. But in order to do this, they need copies of human consciousness. So McDonald's comes to you and it's like, listen, you're a really good worker. We'll give you $1 million if we can make an exact copy of your consciousness and basically enslave it into working at McDonald's for its entire virtual life. So basically, you're cloning your own conscious, so that would believe that it is you, but then it's forced to work at McDonald's for until its circuits run or explode or whatever. So you've made a copy of yourself. You're still fine. It doesn't affect you whatsoever, but you've brought a second you into slavery, basically, for the benefit of yourself.
I don't think I could do that. I don't know. I wouldn't. No.
I mean, it's not so much the premise that bothers me. That would bother me about it. It's that there's a second version of me that I have to compete with.
But it's not allowed to leave McDonald's. Like you can pretty much be guaranteed that at minimum for your natural lifespan, it's not gonna like form an uprising or anything or take over.
No,
And-
just knowing that there's another me, I would make the effort to compete with it.
Compete with it how?
However I can.
All it does is like make burgers and take orders.
I would get a job at McDonald's and force him into retirement. I would become so good of a worker that he would have to be fired.
Oh my gosh.
Well, then now he has no purpose. Anyway, I don't know, because it's hard to say if I'm trying to think if I would understand if I did this to myself. And I would understand if I did it. Would I forgive myself or would I care? I won't do it to myself. I'm a nice guy. To me. So, we got 3 no's. Sorry, McDonald's. You're gonna have to clone someone else.
Yep. Find some other podcast to harass the
hosts.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys took the cannibal and not this.
Okay, that is entirely different.
That
What do
is
you
entirely
even mean?
different.
It absolutely no one is affected by the cannibal, but you're literally enslaving a copy of yourself for virtually eternity with the McDonald's.
Yeah,
This by no way reflects McDonald's opinions on people or anything. I just used them as an example. I'm sure McDonald's is a great company to work at. What was your rebuttal, Daniel?
It's just a circuit board, like you said.
Yes, but it thinks exactly the same as you do. My dead body does not.
Also, why did McDonald's do this?
It would definitely
Let's
cut
talk
down
about
on
that.
cost. You don't have to
What's the
pay
back-
you don't have to pay a copy of a consciousness.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just like have a computer automated, like turn every McDonald's into?
Do you know how many
mini,
programmers
like,
they'd have to hire in order to design one for every type of
It
thing they make?
it wouldn't be any more effort than like
Copying
automated,
human
automated
consciousness.
plants, like manufacturing plants.
I'm in PLC design right now, and it takes at least like 20 minutes to design an automated manufacturer.
I'm not saying it's low effort, but it's like nothing that hasn't been done.
They've done the calculations. It's cheaper to copy human consciousnesses. Obviously, you didn't
Anyway.
attend the board meeting. Speaking of board meetings,
We have an advertisement.
Thank you.
you picked up on that perfectly.
I was like locked and loaded, ready to fire, but then you guys just kept going. All right, our ad is brought to you today by Pinocchio. The interest in investing is growing and growing. Everyone is doing it, and now you're starting to want to also. Yet investing can be so costly. With the new app, Pinocchio, the cost problem of investing is solved. You can invest all you want without spending a cent. You know what they say, high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. Now with zero money, there is no risk.
Think about that. No risk, anything, ever.
Yep,
Zero money, zero problems.
exactly.
Exactly.
That's
Except the
tagline,
problem
actually.
of having no money. And that's in fine
No
print,
mo-
though.
No money, no problems.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I'll definitely download. What's their download link?
You can find them in the App Store or the Google Play. That's all I was told. Pinocchio,
Man,
Like-
well,
like
I don't know if
Robin Hood's biggest competitor.
I don't know if Pinocchio is public domain or if Disney owns it. I think it's public domain.
I think it's public domain. I feel like there are other Pinocchio movies.
Well, they're definitely like those off-brand bootleg Disney Pinocchio movies.
Yeah, exactly, because all of those are like public domain stories that can just
Yeah.
have their own versions written.
Dude, I want to watch that now. What do you what's it called? I don't know. Keep going. What's the next segment?
Next segment, qualgorithm. So, like Brent said, we'll be doing the mini segment version of qualgorithm again. I'm gonna open up.
Wait, what's the qualgorithm question? Professor Daniel?
What's the qualgorithm? Yes, Superman curl in the back. I can answer your question.
Awesome. Is this going to be on the
So-
test?
Nope.
The
Also,
qualgorithm is
you
where
counted
we-
part B wrong on my last homework, but I
my
I
gosh.
actually put a negative sign on it. So,
Yep. And you just lost another point.
but well, I hate it when people and sorry to interrupt your qualgorithm, but I hate it when people this could be my first point. People in class when they raise their hand and then they like in the middle of class and then they complain about how their homework was graded. I'm like, "What are you doing? This is an after class question. Don't interrupt class." I have a strong opinion on that. Daniel, what's your first one?
All right. So this is a crazy event. It's not current. It's from 2011, I believe. But in 2011, 90% of Armenia's internet went down because of one 75-year-old woman.
Armenia. Okay.
Yes. So, in Armenia, when they were still like figuring out how to make
Internet.
like, they have like
Figuring
they're
out how to
trying
make
get
internet.
from like one place like to like the shore and across the Black Sea, right?
Sure.
But to lay the fiber optic cables, you need a long stretch of land. You have to deal with all the permits. But lucky for them, their government owns the railroad company, and there was a railroad with like a really good line for it. And it's like, oh, okay. So they made a subsidiary company and gave them like a small strip of land next to the entire railroad track that they could lay the fiber optic cable down. So basically, anywhere you see the railroad track, there's a fiber optic cable next to it.
Yeah.
And there's this little village, hasn't been dominant, it hasn't really been occupied for like over 1,000 years,
Over.
but it's just there.
Okay.
And this old lady, kind of poor, whatever, but she's looking for copper. And so she's going around with a metal detector, and she's near this village, and she ends up finding the cable next to the railroad track. I guess she thinks there's copper on it or something, but she manages to break the wire, try and get some, and get away. And so 90%, because that was the main cable that fed into Armenia, like 90% of their internet grid was totally down. So like hospitals couldn't download patients' files, news, like TV stations couldn't get their news, and also so I thought it was interesting, not only for the event, but also because it kind of supplements one of our old hypotheticals, well, of what if the internet went down for a year. And yeah, like it was kind of a disaster because like hospitals had trouble running, companies couldn't get information, news wasn't able to get out, and people couldn't even complain about it on Twitter.
Did
So,
Blockbuster come back for that little period while they were repairing the cable?
Blockbuster came back for.
It was like a
period.
shack built overnight. We just got a bunch
Congrats
of DVDs.
to anyone who still owned Blockbuster stock in 2011.
Yeah. That's pretty funny though, because in my digital communication class, it's all about like transmission lines right now. And when they were first doing telegraph cables across like oceans, so one of the first ones they did is from England to France. And so they set it up. It took them like a couple weeks to lay down, and then they test it. And basically, because due to like capacitance and I'd have to go into electrical engineering, but basically, it didn't work exactly how they expected because they had never done like cables this long before. But then, so the next day they go in, they try it again, and it doesn't work at all. And so they're like, oh, okay, crap. Like, this is a bad idea. We're going to have to go tell them. So they go, like, the people who are working on it go down to, like, the fishing village, which is, like, where the port is. And there's a celebration going on. And they're like, what's going on? What's the celebration? And one of the people is like, a fisherman just found a brand of, or a type of seaweed that grows gold in the middle of it. And they show them, and it was their telegraph cable, and they mistook the copper for gold. And so he had, like, with his fishing net, caught the telegraph cable, pulled it up, and then he had taken up, like, half of the wire going all the way between England and France. And so they had to relay it all. And then, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Amazing.
Can't write stories better than that. It's good stuff.
Can't make this stuff up.
All right, Brent, you've got something?
I do. All right. So, basically, yesterday, I had an hour to kill at like the community center of my college. And so I went in there, and I'm like, man, what do I have to do? And I'm looking around, and I see this booth set up with like a line going like halfway across the building. And I'm like, it's never been a bad thing where I see a long line at college and I get in. And so I just got in the line, not knowing what the line was for. And long story short, I ended up at the front of the line, and now I own a plant, and I'm a father. And I wasn't ready for this responsibility. I just wanted to get in the line for free stuff.
So, what kind of plant is it?
It's a variety of cactus. It's not a cactus, but it's in like the same family. I forgot what they called it, but it only takes a cap full of water once a week. But it's a nice looking plant.
Wait, so I'm looking at this picture.
I sent one in the group chat.
Yeah. I saw you sent a picture of a plant. How is it a variety of cacti?
It's like in the same family in that it it grows in the desert and it retains water very well.
Oh, but it's not a cactus.
No.
Gotcha. So it's like a fern of sorts.
Why not? I know nothing about plant names, except Venus flytrap. I think that's the most universally known type of like
going around talking
plant.
about aquaponics and you don't know about plants.
Hydroponics. Very different, but that's a style of growing, not specific classification of plants. But yeah, I'm not ready for this responsibility. Lindsay, what do you got?
I got something. So I've talked Brent's ear off lately about a show called something on Netflix, Money Heist, but like it has a concept that a lot of movies have, or movies have, where like you're following someone trying to do something like bad, like just inherently bad, like kind of like Inception. They're trying to have a guy take down a man's company, pretty much, and then also you see but I'm talking even more beyond the movie show type stuff. And then the show Money Heist, they're trying to rob the Royal Mint of Spain, but like when it comes to the shows and stuff, obviously they're taking it from the perception. Sometimes they're taking it from the perception of the bad people, and you start connecting with them. And I feel like, at least for me, the shows and the movies that were like the bad guys are kind of portrayed as the protagonists are typically like movies that I enjoy a little. I would want to assume it's because like they're trying to do something crazy, they're trying to do something big, and I want to see it work out, kind of. And I was just wondering if you guys felt the same way.
You bring up a good idea, because it's like I've definitely seen analysis whatever of this before, analyses of this before, where it's like specifically this is the same in like mafia movies or like crime movies like Bonnie and Clyde or something, where you're following like the person you are following in the story is like objectively bad and is in the wrong in terms of what is considered like the correct thing to do, but you are more invested in seeing them succeed as opposed to like the police or something. And it's an interesting thing that like a movie maker is able to make you just forget your own morals just to be like, all right, I want this guy to succeed, ignoring what he's doing. Interesting thought.
All right, guess I'm up.
Thoughts? I was just wondering if you had the same thoughts. Do you enjoy like movies and stuff the same way? Like, if someone's trying to do something big and bad, like, are you wanting them to succeed, or are you more so like you want to see them fail?
I just want a good movie. I just want everyone to have fun. No, but yeah, I mean, I'm good with like the quote unquote protagonists failing if it plays well to the plot line, but also I'm okay with the main characters doing shady things and succeeding, like Italian Job. Obviously, I'm rooting for the main characters. It's kind of like bad guys against bad guys. You know, if you've ever seen that movie.
I don't think I have.
It's pretty good. It's about heists.
Did you guys see the Rick and Morty episode about heists? It's
Probably.
Which one was that?
just came out this season.
Oh no, I haven't seen it this season.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great. Highly recommend. Leave it at that.
Probably
How are
have to
you
check that
watching?
out.
How are you watching the new episode?
I mean, it's on TV.
I don't have TV.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Tap.
Daniel, yeah, throwback. Daniel, what is one half?
All right. So I'm going to read you guys a headline, and I want to hear your thoughts before I go into it. Northern Iowa student awarded full $10,000 prize after half-court shot controversy.
Okay. Iowa student awarded $10,000 prize after, you said, controversial half-court shot?
Yeah.
All right, so,
Yeah,
what I'm imagining is there's an Iowa student, and he went to a basketball game, and they had a scholarship set aside for $10,000, and it was controversial because he did a granny throw, like the between the legs throw, when the rules specifically said overhand throw.
No, I think the controversial part is like he actually like stepped over the line or something, the half court line.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why does that not make any sense?
All right, what's it about?
All right, what is it? Tell us about it.
All right. So he ended up getting the full $10,000, but let's see. So it's
he put a
pretty
magnet
common
in the ball.
at, like college basketball games during the halftime to like pick someone from the crowd, and they get a prize if they are able to complete some challenge. So this student had 24 seconds to make a layup, a free throw, a three-pointer, and a half-court shot. Oh, it was during a timeout in the Northern Illinois and Illinois State game.
Okay.
So he completed the four-shot task in time, only to have his half-court shot ruled too late after confusion in exactly how much time had elapsed. So there was a 24-second limit, but the arena MC's 3-2-1 countdown, which can be heard in videos that were on Twitter, lined up with a 27-second time frame. And because of all the confusion and all the people complaining, being like, he totally should have won it, they ended up giving him the full prize. If they hadn't, he still was going to win $2,000, a trip to a tournament, and some sports team apparel, which still would have been sick. But now he gets to go watch you and I live at March Madness, which includes tickets and hotel and the full 10,000.
First off, why am I not going to my school's basketball games? I don't even know if my school has a basketball team, but I need to find this out so I can get 10 grand.
Brent, your school has a rugby team.
Do we?
I'd be surprised. Yeah. I knew someone who played on it, but
Well, hot dang.
I'd be surprised if they don't have a basketball team.
I know we have a football team. I was friends with the quarterback. I had calculus 2 with him. Nice guy.
Shocking.
Shout out to Brendan if you're listening. I have no idea what he's up to today or nowadays. But
Wait, so are you just telling the story? Or are you asking if he should have won the full prize or not?
So they initially ruled that he didn't win it, but then basically there was a lot of confusion, and he did make the half court shot. Like, if he was off, it was only off by like a half second or something, like tops. And so they just gave him the full prize. They're like, hey, congratulations to this guy. So I'm wondering, maybe did they just spit out the extra money because of PR, or because they were like, hey, we should probably just do this? Because
I think
that was still really impressive.
If there wasn't any I think because of the confusion that there was kind of leaning, like not so lean all the way towards one of the ways, I think they should have done it, just because like it's one of those like on the fly type challenges. It's not like you're sitting down like going through all like the contract rules and stuff. You're sitting down, it's like on the fly type challenge. Now if it was something that they agreed to long in advance, then and kind of could have went through like that kind of stuff, if something were to happen, then leaves less room for loopholes. I feel like this was just a big loophole for it being on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Could you guys make a half court shot?
I have before.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't consistently make a half court shot,
But okay, have you made a half court shot then,
Yes.
Lindsay? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have. I feel like I feel like in middle school at one point I made a half court shot.
Yeah, just like at some point when I was just messing around in the gym. I'm sure,
Yeah, we're just having fun. Not like you're like, I don't know. There were times where I would just sit there with my brother or something like that and just continue making half court shots, and eventually I think we made some.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely not consistently.
All right, Brent, what is Star?
Well, it's funny that you brought up Star Wars, because my thing about Star Wars was like one thing that's consistent in Star Wars is all the races or like species, I guess, of aliens or whatever, they all speak the same language. Like, even though, so let's like take humans for example, or I guess there's the galactic standard or whatever, but like the like Wookiees, like they all speak the same language, and the same for like all the species in there, which is interesting because like, granted, this is real life's a little different from Star Wars, but we have a lot more than a single language for all humans. Mm-hmm. So how do you think they coordinated having a single language for everyone? I don't know. And is that a good idea? I guess it's a decent idea. But that like almost integration. How are you gonna integrate with society if only each species can talk with themselves?
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, it's kind of like the idea in film, like if you are just confident in, like, especially with sci-fi elements, if you don't explain it and you just talk about it as if it's just a fact of life, people are going to be much happier with that than if you try and explain it and the explanation isn't sufficient. And so with Star Wars, it's just kind of an accepted fact that, at some point in the past, these different species of aliens just met each other and decided, you know what, we should unify under one language, and then did. But if they tried to explain that, it would have gotten a little dicey and probably unnecessary and take up too much plot or too much movie time.
Mm-hmm.
So the follow-up question then, should we do that? Like Earth. Make
why not?
Humanese the language
Well,
of
I mean,
humans.
most places have English as their second language. Like it's pretty common for a lot of other countries to.
That is nowhere near a universal language for all
It's not
humans,
a universal
though.
language, but
No,
I'm saying like
it's the business language of the world, is my
Yeah,
understanding.
it's one of the top used because like I think Mandarin is like the top used in like business stuff, but like
Oh yeah,
it's one of those like it's obviously we speak English here, and we're a huge chunk of the population, and in a lot of other countries, my understanding is that they enforce that like in schools and stuff they have them learn English at least a little bit, so it's like their choice for second language, whereas in here like typically people default to learning Spanish for a second language, but there apparently it's more enforced that you try to learn English.
Well, okay, so are you saying that English should be the universal language?
I'm saying if it came down to trying to discuss which one it was, I think it might be easier for people to kind of default to choosing English.
But I feel like you'd come into problems with that because people would be upset that they have to learn a new language. So
Exactly.
it
Yeah, definitely.
might almost be better to just make a brand new language called Humanese. But
I don't think I think that'd be more of an American problem if we were forced to learn a different language, because most, especially in continents where countries with different languages are in closer proximity, it's very common to need to know multiple languages. And so, like, if you were to try and say to America, hey, you're all going to have to learn, they'd be like, no. And you'd probably have that problem in other countries. But
Yeah.
a lot of, like Lindsay said, I think more countries teach at least basic English to the whole student body than countries do with any other language. So that wouldn't be too difficult to transition.
Just slightly enforced a little heavier.
so just making English the standard language.
It's
But-
definitely a consideration, worth considering.
But I'm sure like
Technically,
every
but,
country
like-
would each still know their own respective languages.
Yeah, well, and that's the idea.
Yeah.
But that would suck because then if you only spoke English, then it's like you can't secretly communicate with other people of your nationality or whatever.
Wait, can everyone like understand Chewbacca in the movies?
Han Solo and Rey can, but some people can't. Like Leia couldn't in the first couple episodes. I think by the end she could.
Okay.
That would suck if in Star Wars it's like you had to
Why can
learn like
Rey-
8 language.
Why can Ray speak?
She can also speak BB-8, and that's never explained either. But Finn can't. Which is funny because Finn actually like worked for the First Order.
That's true.
I really hope whoever listens to this podcast is Star Wars fans, or else a lot of this episode's not going to be interesting.
Star Wars kind of like ties into my next one.
All right, go
I
for
was
it.
thinking about like, you know how some people it's controversial, like what the viewing order of Star Wars, like whether order of when they released or like
Yeah.
chronologically. Like, what about the Marvel series? Like, do you think it should be chronologically or do you think it should be in the?
Definitely order release, just because they I don't know. Because
'Cause I
chronologically, like watching Captain America first, that like I'd be okay with that over Iron Man. But then like if you told me instead of like after Captain America watch Captain Marvel, it's like
I have
Eh.
I have it right now. The chronological order. I'm pulling it up.
okay, it's probably like Captain America, Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and then I don't know when Thor occurs. I'm gonna assume after Iron Man though, so I'm gonna go Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, comes.
I'll just go with it instead of you guessing the entire thing.
Okay, well, whatever.
You were going the right path. Captain America, Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, Thor, The Incredible Hulk, which that's irrelevant, honestly. Avengers, Iron
Why the
Man
heck
3,
is that one in that order? Okay, continue.
Thor: The Dark World, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Civil War, Black Panther, Homecoming, Ant-Man the Wasp, Doctor Strange, Ragnarok, and then Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, so
So,
there
I mean,
are only a couple differences.
Yeah,
So honestly, it
yeah.
doesn't even really matter. It's just
I know,
like
but
Captain
would
Marvel.
Does those few changes care? Or does those few changes matter enough?
No. Star Wars, it's very important how you watch them. Marvel, like, as long as you get, like, you don't watch Endgame before Infinity War or something, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
What was your guys' view in order of Star Wars?
I think I watched them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But
Yeah,
7, 8, 9.
I mean,
But it's been a
I've
long
only-
time.
I don't think I've seen any of the Star Wars movies a second time, but I think when I watched them, it was in order.
Well,
In
the thing was,
order.
even before I watched them though, I knew the story.
So are you guys? Would you say you guys are vouching for chronological order?
There's one order called the Machete Order, which you watch like 4, 5 to find out the big reveal about Darth Vader, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and then you watch 6. I like the idea of that, but I don't know.
Mine was closer to that because I was a little mixed up. I did watch that, but I also mainly watched it order of release, aside from like 1 or 2 misplacements. But I'm not really a voucher for one or the other.
I think
just-
order of release makes sense because a lot of what goes on in 1, 2, and 3 kind of makes more sense in light of what you know happens in 4, 5, 6.
For sure.
And there are definitely a lot of things like you can appreciate, because I recently rewatched all Star Wars movies 1 through 8 in order, and there were like a lot. There were a lot of things I noticed, but then it's like watching 4, 5, and 6. There were things that was like, oh man. But there are also some inconsistencies I noticed. Like, for example, C-3PO has his memory wiped, and so like he doesn't know who Darth Vader
Dude,
is.
that's the biggest spoiler ever. Why would you give that away?
But R2-D2 doesn't have his memory wiped. So like R2-D2 is the ultimate troll because he knows everything that's going on in like 4, 5, and 6, but he doesn't divulge any information. Like he knows who the Emperor is, he knows who Darth Vader is, he knows everything. He knows like who Obi-Wan is. Just yeah.
R2's my favorite.
Originally, he was supposed to just like spew profanity the entire time, and like you were actually supposed to understand him, but then they decided to just make it beeps and boops.
That's funny. I don't know. Favorite Star Wars character?
Like entirely?
Entirely. No, who, like not like I'm asking.
It's a toss up between Anakin and Darth Vader. Like
I agree.
Both of the like I love power characters in anything, and Anakin having the most midichlorian count ever, like you gotta love him.
So strictly to not give a typical like Boba or Jango Fett answer, I'm gonna go General Grievous.
Dude.
I used
But
to be
okay.
a fan of Boba Fett, but I think Darth Vader now that I don't know why, but now Darth Vader is definitely play.
The thing about General Grievous though, if you exclusively go with you don't take Clone Wars, the animated series, into effect, like all he does in the entire movie is like he captured Emperor Palpatine, but you don't see any of that. And so the first thing you see him do is run away on an escape pod, and then the only other time you really see him in Episode 3 is when he fights Obi-Wan Kenobi and gets like both his hands cut off within 10 seconds, and then he just runs away again, and then he dies.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of General Grievous.
He's pretty
so
cool.
awesome.
His character model or whatever does look amazing.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna move on to really quick mini hypothetical. If I asked you for a blue pen, what would you give me?
First, I would see if I had a blue pen.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say,
but
based
what
on
what do you mean blue
supply
pen?
or
I would give you a pen that delivers blue ink out of.
I
Ah.
agree.
But what if I wanted a literal blue pen? I don't care about the ink color. Or
Then
what
I
if
would
I
check to
wanted
see-
a blue pen that wrote blue ink?
Then I would see if I had that, and if I didn't, you wouldn't get a blue pen.
I would hope that you would specify. I
Well,
would
but
assume
if you had said that to me, I'd probably just think you were messing with me.
I would assume I would like resort to the color
Of the ink.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
because I was thinking about this, and I was watching the TV show where someone asked for a blue pen, and they handed them a literal blue pen, but then it wrote black, and they were like, "What the heck?" And it was like, "What? You said a blue pen?" It's like, "No, I wanted blue ink," and I was like, "That's a good point." Because I definitely would default to ink, but I would totally understand if someone just meant a literal blue pen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we are on to world building. So, world building. We're going to spend 5 minutes continuing our created universe, which currently consists of so there's a large planet. It's a water planet, or we don't really know much about the planet. Big planet, and around it, there's an asteroid belt, but instead of asteroids, it's a ring of water, and there's a bridge going around this ring of water, and asteroids have been caught in it, making little islands on it, and the planet has a moon, which is a white dwarf star, and then the entire planet and everything revolves around a larger red star, and then there are people there. They are bipedal humanoid figures with 3 eyes and 6 pupils. They have human legs. They lay eggs in terms of reproduction, and they are alien blue. And last time we talked a little bit about the culture. So they've got the Church of the Bridge, which is their religion. They just believe a lot about the bridge, and they're peaceful. They have no government. They just kind of follow the religion. And then everything that crashes into the water ring is considered destiny. So, like, if an asteroid with a certain material comes in, they believe that is what they need to be focusing on in terms of development. And then also, aeronautics may or may not have been recently developed, but it is heretical to use it, even though you can get around quicker. So, what do we want to focus on today?
I think we had discussed plant life.
Yeah, I think we could do plant life this episode, and then we could actually start getting into like some characters and a story, because
Yeah. So if we're gonna move into characters in a story, I think maybe we should do plant life for wherever the character starts, and then as he travels, if he moves into different kind of environments or weather patterns, then
we can talk about them as we get to that.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good. But so 5 minutes today on plant life. We are starting now. What are we thinking? So there's a lot of water, so we could do like algae or something over the water. But then in terms of actual land, asteroids are your real source of like things to do stuff. And then there could be stuff growing on the bridge theoretically, like vines.
So okay, first off, are we thinking like they try to control the plants, or is it more like a Kashyyyk where it's like all like a lot of plant life going on? They don't really try to control it.
It just depends where you are.
Well, yeah, obviously, but for the most part, do they try to clear some of it out, or do they try to let it grow?
I don't think they're that concerned about it.
Okay.
But I also don't think that there would be all that much plant life, because like the asteroids that get caught, even the large ones, can only support so many plants.
Okay.
So because like trees, they have an atmosphere, so there has to be something that generates the atmosphere. And I think a large amount of algae would probably be the most logical way, because I'm pretty sure like you on Earth algae makes up for a significant portion of our atmosphere or like oxygen created. So I vote algae. Lots of algae in the water.
Oh yeah, lots of algae.
Water. And
So
then,
let's what do you guys think about having the main character start on like in a swampy region, like a marshland?
how is this? But like the entire thing is water, and so like, what exactly? So is it a swamp asteroid? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean think about like the Florida Keys. Like that's next to the ocean, but they still have swamps down there.
Okay. So Maine starts in swamp asteroid. Asteroid. All right, I like it. So in this swamp asteroid, what kind of plant life we got?
So it's gonna be all plants that can survive like slightly submerged in water
Yeah.
for sure.
So like lily pads, and then
Seaweed, maybe.
yeah. So lily pads.
then
But then
maybe,
also
maybe some plants unique to this planet or this asteroid even.
then they'd be plants that have like become like evolved to the point where they can survive the event of like the or the moon sun passing by. So it needs to be something that could like either shut up when it got that much radiation, or something that could absorb. Like the plant life theoretically could be crazy because of how much energy they could get just directly to them.
So maybe like it's because of the openness over like the river quote unquote areas, like it creates some like a kind of wind tunnel which cools off the bottom of the plant or the like the trunks of trees and stuff, and then the canopies of the trees keep like the low laying stuff cool as well.
All right, so the trees act as like a natural barrier between the light of the moon sun and then like the people below.
And then the wind tunnel helps keep the tops cool.
Okay. And then I'm like imagining just like Jurassic Park or style leaves just are because like these leaves can absorb, or maybe because they can absorb so much solar radiation that they would like have so much energy to grow and could get so big. So we'll just say that's not how you spell enormous. Enormous leaves. So
We could even go Last Airbender route and have the entire swamp be one plant.
that on that would almost make sense too, because like we could say just like one asteroid somehow had seeds on it or something, and then it just spread from there. I like that. So
That's cool.
all one large plant, and so like the swamp asteroid is the center of all the plant life around the place. And then does anything grow on the bridge?
Ooh, I don't know. Because I kind of pictured it like one giant stone archway.
One giant what?
Ooh, well, I don't know how well that works because it's just a ring of water. There's nowhere to lay a foundation. So what is the bridge? How does the bridge float?
The bridge, it's like the bridge can, okay, we're out of time, but the bridge has its structural integrity by just like imagine a literal steel ring, and it's like it just kind of gravity
Floats over the water.
Yeah, well, and then
It
it's like
orbits the planet.
Is it
pretty much.
Is it nearly a second ring?
Well, it's definitely above the water, but I don't know. We don't know because we're out of time for today. Daniel, wrap it up for us.
All right.
Take us home.
I'm doing my best. I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. But
Home tonight.
let's try and get this conclusion. All right. So
Not killing
like,
time at all.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow, keep watching, recommend other people to watch. Tell your mom.
Wait, what are they watching?
Tell everyone else.
What are they watching?
to watch We Bombastic Few podcast
But we don't watch
on
podcasts.
YouTube or listen
okay.
on any podcasting source. Thank you for clarify that.
I'm sure they were super
So,
confused.
any final thoughts, Lindsay?
Me? I thought it was good. It was like cool how there's like subliminal like connections through a lot of our things today.
Subliminal connections, and that connection is Star Wars.
yeah, for the
Like
most part.
callbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
A lot of Easter eggs for you dedicated listeners.
okay, well, you can give your final thoughts when I ask for the final thoughts from you. Any final
It's
thoughts,
not your
Brent?
turn.
Shout out to Mom. Will Smith comes to the podcast. I'm good. Said my piece.
My final thoughts. Pretty solid episode. I think it took us less time to plan than normal.
Yeah, it did.
Shockingly, even though it felt like it took a while.
Test audio went smooth too.
Yeah, I only had to run like once through, and yeah, it was nice, easy setup today.
We're getting the hang of it.
Yep, we're on it.
Back in the swing.
We're pros.
You could say that.
You could say we've become experts in this sort of thing.
We expert few.
We
Not bad.
expert few.
That you can find as we're like competing with Skillshare. We have a website that's like tutorials. We expert few.
WikiHow.
All right.
That's a good business strategy.
That is. I like it. We'll have to look into expansion strategies. But if that's it, then have a bombastic week, everyone.